it's interesting when you speak, because I think that there's like this stigma. I think when anybody when the word Trump is anywhere in somebody's space, there's a lot of crazy conversations that happen, a lot of crazy beliefs, and a lot of times we can't separate fact from fiction. I'd be curious to ask you this: when you run into other Black women, I mean, knowing that I think Kamala Harris, I saw today or yesterday, thanked Black women basically for getting her across the line in this election, and a lot of people had different things to say about that. Given that you're a Black woman who didn't go with the masses, what are your conversations like with other Black women? I mean, just the good and the bad.
Not only am I a Black woman, but I'm a Black woman that's married to a Black man. Not only am I married to a Black man, but I have 3 Black sons and I have 2 Black daughters. So when we are talking about Black representation, it is time for us to get some Black representation that represents us. Let me first say that. Once I say that, Black women, they understand where I'm coming from, because, you know, for me, and I get a little passionate sometimes, because one of the biggest things for me with Kamala is her stance on abortion, and me knowing that she is heavily funded by Planned Parenthood. Not only is she funded by them, but she's also a voice for them. It's just I feel it is disrespectful to have someone constantly push a narrative that is Black women like me, that, like I said before, come from the hood, because we know they target low-income women, that to say that the best option for us is abortion. Now that my children are grown, they are all blessings. They're the best things that God ever gave to me. All of them are different. I love every last one of them. And it's time for us to begin to teach and preach a different message to young women of color. Instead of every time they're talking about women of color, it's women of color need access to abortion. I have to challenge that, because I've never heard any of them say white women need access to abortion. We know that abortion ends the life, right, of a child. And if we're talking about us being an oppressed minority, we're always going to be oppressed if we're encouraging abortion, and it's like we're killing our own army and we're aborting our own votes. So when it comes to us looking for Black women to lead, we need to make sure that we are not only listening, but respecting those Black voices that are saying, no, mama and daddy, have this baby, keep this family together, raise this child. But what we have now is people in leadership positions telling us to run to the abortion clinic. Now, I'm sorry, you said this is free speech, but I just got to say that's ass backwards. We ain't getting nowhere with that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just time that we begin to have a conversation. We got to rethink this. We got to begin to promote, you know, pregnancy prevention. Birth control is not abortion, okay? Birth control prevents the pregnancy. Population control is abortion, because abortion kills the baby after the pregnancy. So we just got to start, you know, recognizing the difference, telling the truth, understanding that we are hurting our own community through abortion. Abortion is not a blessing for us, and it's not healthcare, it's death care. So that's my biggest issue. When we talking about having Black voices that represent us, get you some Black queens in there that got Black children, that's married to Black men, that can be a real voice for the Black experience.
Wow, you know, I have to be biased in this conversation. I'm with you on that. You know, my mother, when she gave birth to me, she got pregnant at 16, and my father was 15, and I do not know him at all. You know, he died a couple years ago. I didn't know him at all, and so you know, my mother, who happens to understand exactly where you're coming from, she talks about, you know, the fact that if they'd had a Planned Parenthood clinic down the street and somebody had gave her some money to go down there, or the abortions were free, she said, "There's no way you would be here." She said, I didn't know what I was going to do. And it mortifies both of us, because we think about all the great years we've had together, you know. And she says, you've done so many amazing things. And she said, God told me that you were going to do some interesting, some heavy things in your life, and that I needed to work my way through this. And here's the thing, I will say that I've never felt compelled to tell somebody what they have the right to do or not, or don't have the right to do. But something about the abortion conversation always bothered me. Like when I went to Johannesburg, and I'm sure you can speak to this. You know, I saw advertisements for free abortions all throughout the Black neighborhoods, everywhere. I mean, on every block, just 1,000 of these little ads. I didn't see them in the white neighborhoods. And I said, they are trying.
You know why?
But why's that?
Because we get abortion clinics and they get fertility clinics. Trust and believe that this is Black genocide. If we go all the way back and begin to research the Negro projects and Title X funding, we'll know that this was a diabolical plan put in place to rid, right, America, the world, of an unwanted group of people. Right now, today, back then, that unwanted group of people were Blacks. Right now, today, that unwanted group of people, they label them as low income. Well, we know who the low income people are. We know where the poverty neighborhoods are. And we also know where all of the abortion clinics are. And what they've done is they've done an excellent job at tricking us with words, because they'll say, my body, my choice. Well, Dr. Watkins, I have to ask you, you're very intelligent. Do you and your mother have the same body? See,
no,
none of my children have the same body. It's not your body, it's the baby body. Because if it was your body, you would be the one dying during the abortion process. Then they say, oh, well, it's not a life, it's just a clump of cells. Well, if it's not alive, why do you need an abortion to kill it? Dead things don't grow. So you're not gonna just have something in your belly that's not growing or just in there. If you have to have an abortion to kill it, then that means that you are ending the life. And then a lot of us don't understand lifespan development. You know, you go from being an egg to an embryo to a fetus, to an infant, to a toddler, to a child, to a teen, to an adult. And throughout that whole lifespan development, you're still the same person. So I tell my women when I talk to them all the time, if you wouldn't kill your baby outside of the womb, why would you kill your baby inside the womb? It's still the same baby, the same person throughout the entire process. And so that's the education, that resetting, right, of having us begin to value life, because they've programmed us to believe, one, that it's not a life. And we could talk science all day, but Dr. Watkins, you know, everybody in this world got here the same way. They mama got pregnant. Mm-hmm. You can't get here unless your mama pregnant. That's the bottom line. So you can talk about when, how far along, or whatever. That's the process that it takes in order for you to get here. So when we're asking other people to value our lives, I think that people are looking at us foolishly if we're proud to say that we're, you know, responsible for putting the party in place that wants to fund the execution of Black life in the womb.